is metrology, which is about measurements. We are here about accuracy of measurements. So as you are all aware, Uganda National Bureau of Standards is an institution responsible for developing national standards, promoting them and enforcing them where necessary, to protect consumers, to protect the environment, to promote fairness in trade, and also to assist our manufacturers to meet the required standards so that they can access markets locally, regionally, and internationally. That is the most important part of UNBS that you all know. But there's another very important part of UNBS that people don't normally know about, and that is that UNBS is responsible for ensuring accuracy of all measurements in the country. What do I mean by measurements? Most of you know about weight. When you are going to buy meat, you want that you are not cheated. But most people don't know that when you go to a hospital and they are checking your temperature to see if you have fever, that's measurements. When they are checking your pressure, that's measurements. When you are doing construction of your building and they are checking the materials you use, those are measurements. And when those measurements do not meet the accuracies, there can be disaster. You can have buildings and bridges collapsing. You can get patients being misdiagnosed. You can get fake products harming consumers. You can get poisonous ingredients in food products. So we are talking of ensuring that we measure accurately to make sure that the product that comes out meets the required standards. So before I proceed, I'm going to read for you our press statement. Then after that, I will attempt to interpret in Uganda. And then after that, we can have a discussion of general question and answer. So allow me to read for you our press statement on this. Uganda, through the Uganda National Bureau of Standards, join the rest of the world to celebrate the World Metrology Day. The World Metrology Day commemorates the anniversary of the signing of the Meter Convention in Paris in 1875. It is in 1875 that the world came to start measuring things together, so that the kilogram in Uganda is the same as the kilogram in Europe, the same as the kilogram in America. Before that, each one was doing his own thing. So we are commemorating that signing of the Meter Convention in 1875. That's 150 years ago. This treaty provides the basis for a worldwide coherent measurement system that underpins scientific discovery and innovation, industrial manufacturing and international trade, as well as the improvement of the quality of life and the protection of the global environment. Metrology is the science of accurate measurements. Measurements are done using measuring and testing instruments, and the measurement results must be accurate for the purpose. Measurements are done every day, everywhere, and by almost everybody. And it includes the measurement of time, weight, length, temperature, volume, pressure, etc., etc. However, the accuracy of measurement varies depending on the purpose of the measurement. For example, the one measuring the weight of meat in a butchery, when you go to buy meat, using an ordinary balance, cannot be as accurate as the one measuring the weight of a chemical ingredient to put in medicine using an analytical balance. That one is more sensitive than the other one, so the accuracy must be extremely high. Therefore, specialized measurements such as those carried out in laboratories, hospitals, factories, in aviation, in research facilities, require high levels of accuracy to ensure quality products, safe, and proper safety and proper medical diagnosis, among others. In addition, measurements need to be done and controlled in a similar manner throughout the world, so that a kilogram in Uganda is the same as a kilogram in Kenya and the same as a kilogram in Japan and everywhere. This ensures international equivalence and international traceability of the measurements. Metrology involves the derivation of measurement units, maintaining the national measurement standards with the highest required accuracy, as well as ensuring international traceability of the measurement units and standards through an unbroken chain of calibration. And by calibration we mean checking a machine and restoring its accuracy if it has drifted. When the measuring instrument drifts and starts making errors, you calibrate it to make it measure in the original accuracy. The theme for World Metrology Day of 2025 is measurements for all times, for all people. That's the global theme for this year. And it is chosen to highlight the importance of measurements in shaping our past, present, and future. This theme has added significance in 2025, which marks the 150th anniversary of the Meter Convention. As a tribute to this milestone, World Metrology Day 2025 will be at the core of events to celebrate a century and a half of international collaboration in metrology. From ensuring fair trade and advancing scientific discovery to addressing global challenges like climate change and public health, measurements have been fundamental for progress and innovation. The theme also emphasizes inclusivity, recognizing that reliable and traceable measurements are essential for fostering equity and improving the quality of life for all people everywhere. In the world, national metrology laboratories continually advance measurement science by developing and validating new measurement techniques at the necessary level of sophistication. The National Metrology Institutes, that is the institution which are responsible for metrology, such as the Uganda National Bureau of Standards, participate in measurement comparisons coordinated by the International Bureau of Weights and Measures, or by the regional metrology organizations to ensure the reliability of measurement results worldwide. The International Organization of Legal Metrology develops international recommendations which aim to align and harmonize requirements worldwide in many fields. The OIML also operates the certification system, which facilitates international acceptance and global trade of regulated measuring instruments. These international metrology systems provide this necessary assurance and confidence that measurements are accurate, providing a sound basis for global trade today and helping us prepare for the challenges of tomorrow. Metrology is critical for ensuring accuracy of measurements in all sectors, including trade, manufacturing, agriculture, health, infrastructure, laboratories, the energy sector, including oil and gas, transport, information and communication technology, that's ICT, science and technology and innovation, environment, justice, law and order, regulation, as well as sports and recreation. So you can see all those sectors, you were able to do some measurements there, and those measurements must be accurate for the purpose. World Metrology Day acknowledges and honors the contribution of individuals working in intergovernmental, regional, and national metrology organizations and institutes year-round. On the World Metrology Day 2025, UNBS acknowledges the significant contribution of the government of Uganda in facilitating the construction of the state-of-the-art National Metrology Laboratory building at the UNBS headquarters that is under completion, and which will propel UNBS to be at the forefront of ensuring the highest measurement accuracies at the national and regional level and traceable to international level to the BIPL. So the government of Uganda, under a project in the Ministry of Agriculture called the Agricultural Value Chain Development Project, managed to secure some funds and put up a building for Uganda National Bureau of Standards to house the national metrology laboratories. That building is under completion currently, and you may enter it in June. But once we enter that building, the level of metrology in Uganda will be like at number 3 in the whole of Africa. And what that means is that once you equip it well, we should be getting neighboring countries bringing their own measuring equipment for us to help calibrate them for them. So you can see that level of measurement accuracy. So we are driving to be a leading metrology institute in Africa, and that building that we have put up should be one of the driving factors for us. So this metrology day, therefore, UNBS calls upon all users of measuring equipment to seek calibration and verification of their equipment from UNBS to ensure accurate measurements for consumer protection and fair trade. To apply for calibration by UNBS, you will log into our system, which is https nml.unbs.go.ug. Those who are interested, we shall give them even more guidelines. And when you log in, it allows you to apply for the services of calibration and verification at Uganda National Bureau Standards. The intention here is to make you request online so that we stop going up and down, coming and asking for charges, coming back, and then coming and bringing equipment, then coming and then taking them. So we want you to just come once when you have finished the process, bring your equipment, you calibrate them, then you just come and pick them when they are actually to the level that you want them to be. Consumers are also encouraged to purchase from traders whose measuring equipment have been calibrated and verified to avoid being cheated. And such equipment normally have a UNBS sticker. So you can tell that this equipment has been checked and verified by UNBS by looking at the sticker which is there from Uganda National Bureau Standards. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the written press release. But I can just add that measurements or metrology is important in our daily lives, from our businesses, from our day-to-day activities, and developing the economy of the country. You cannot trade without measuring. You cannot control anything without measuring it. So as UNBS develops, implements, and enforces standards, it is supported by the other function of measurements, which is measuring to make sure that things are accurate. And we also support all activities in other measuring sectors, like I have told you. For instance, when you go to hospital, the measurements that are done there, UNBS must make sure that there is a chain of calibration that makes those equipment accurate. And we need to also to the media to help us publicize that information and tell the people who are responsible to make sure that when you have a measuring instrument, please have it calibrated. Even in farming, you know, you have areas where we do a lot of farming in coffee, sugarcane, and all of that. When you go to sell your product, they bring a weight bridge or a big weighing scale. You may have your sugarcane, which is 3 tons. When you go to the machine, they tell you it is 1.5 tons, and they cheat you. So you need to check that it has been checked by UNBS to confirm that it is measuring accurately. Even when you are selling your coffee, make sure you are weighing using a verified or calibrated weighing scale. The same thing when you go to a hospital and they are checking you. When you are in construction and you are measuring things, make sure they are accurate. Otherwise, if not, you cause catastrophe and you have things getting destroyed, lives being affected because of inaccurate measurements. So thank you for listening. I know we tuyita World Metrology Day rukwata ku bipimo. Tulinamu eminzaani, tulinamu ebipima mu bulamu bwaffe mu madwaliro, naye nga twagala ebipima byonna bibeere nga bipima bulungi, bikuwa ekyogenda okupima kiveemu nga kikulaga kyekyo kyoyagala. Bw'osanga ng'ogezaako okupima naye ng'ekipimo ky'okozesa tekikozebwako, UNBS tekikebedde, ojja kusanga wandibadde ofuna kilo 10 nekikulaga kilo 8. Oba wandibadde obala ng'ogenze kukebeza omusujja ng'olina omusujja, ekyuma kikugambe nti olina omusujja wakuba kikebedde bubi. Oba ogende bakupime omusaayi kulaba oba olina gundi sukaali mungi, gebanga bapima basange nga tokola ki, nga tolina sukaali, olina sukaali ate nga togirina. So ebipimo byetaaga kuba nga biri accurate, nga biraga bulungi ekyogenda okupima. Kati ogwo omulimu gwa Uganda National Bureau of Standards bakola ku by'omutindo, naye ku by'omutindo bongerako eby'ebipimo. Kuba bw'oba okozesa omutindo tosobola kugutuukiriza nga tokoze eki, nga topimye byokola. Bw'oba oli manufacturer, ne bw'oba oli mu byokulima oba bw'oli mu by'obusuubuzi, olina okulaba ngu by'opimisa bikwatagana naki, bipima bulungi, bikuwa kyekyo ekirina okuba ng'opima. Kati Uganda National Bureau of Standards balina programu ezigenda nga zikebere machine ezo kulaba nga zipima bulungi. So kye twagala abantu bakole kwe kulaba nti olaba nga ekintu kikozesa ng'omwaka gumu ng'opima, okikomyewo baddemu bakole ki, bakikebere kulaba nti kipima bulungi. Tukwatagana n'ebitongole ebirala bya gavumenti kulaba nga bye bapima ng'omu katugambe ekyokulabirako, ogenda kupima amataka kumanya nti eno hiika oba si hiika, oli ayinza okupimisa olukuba olutakoze eki, olutatuukiridde. So tuba twetaaga balukoleko balabe nti lupima bulungi, omuntu gwakugamba nti akupimidde hiika ebeere nga ki, ebeere nga hiika. So ekikulu twetaaga buli kipimo kyonna olabe ng'ogezaako okulaba nti kipima nga bwe kyetaaga okupima, kireme okukuleetera ebizibu oba kwonoona bizinesi zo. Kino kyensobola okubanyura mu Luganda, ebirala ndowooza tujja kubiddamu nga tukola ki, nga tuli mu bibuuzo. Neeyanziza nnyo.
Do we have in place to ensure that the counterfeits are stamped out?
Question. The gentleman is asking, why do we still have counterfeits on the market if UNBS is doing its work? First of all, the work of Uganda National Bureau Standards, like I have told you, is to develop standards, promote them, and also make sure that products meet the required standards. Now, in order to make the products meet required standards, we have a number of activities. We have what we call a market surveillance activity, where our staff go around in the market checking about fake and expired products, and those which are dangerous, which are not meeting the required standards. Now, the gentleman used the word counterfeit, and I also wanted us to explain a little bit. Like when you say counterfeit, you're actually not talking about fake or substandard products. Counterfeit, you are talking of somebody forging a name of the other. If somebody is making a washing powder and he calls it Omo, when it's not Omo, that's a counterfeit. But it can be washing, it can be okay. Most times it is not okay, but it can also be okay. But when you talk of substandard goods, we are just simply talking of products that do not meet standards. And when you talk of standards, most people try to think in too much English. When you say a standard, you are just talking of a description of a good, safe, well-performing product or service or system. A description of a good thing, that is a standard. So when you make substandard products, you are making a bad thing. You are making a bad and safe thing. Substandard food can kill you because it must be having things which can affect your what? Your body. Substandard building materials can cause buildings to do what? To collapse if they don't meet standards. Substandard electrical materials can cause electrocution. They can kill you because of electrocution or can cause fire to your house. So if things meet standards, then we are in good hands. So he's saying the market is still full of substandard goods. I will not say no, but I will say we have reduced them substantially. At one time we had, I think, about 54% of products on the market not meeting standards. But I think last year we had reduced them to less than 30%. And even then, the less than 30%, the substandardness was not that dangerous one which can kill you. It was something like maybe if it is a food, you have not put there like storage conditions. That means not meeting standards. Because when you make food and you put it in the shelf, somebody must know how it is supposed to be stored and how to open and use it. If you don't put, then you are making it substandard, even if it is not dangerous. So most of the products which are substandard now have reduced and are not that dangerous for us to consume. But I cannot say they are not there. It is like when you go to a village, you have the Gomborora chief, you have the Muluka chief, but they are still chicken thieves, isn't it? What we need to do to help us reduce them further is communication. If you can get the UN-based contact of market surveillance, and when you see something is fake, these people who try to get cement and mix it with soil, people who get these, what are they called? Who make this thing used in cooking, the cooking oil, and they mix it with the other oil for transformers. If you have heard about it. So those ones, if you come across where they are doing it, don't shout at them because they can kill you, they are dangerous. Just come to NBS quarter and say, I have seen people mixing fake cement there or mixing fake cooking oil there. We shall run in with the police and apprehend them. That's what we want. And also, if something is too general, please come. You can even have a sample and bring it to us. Because UNBS in implementing the standards, we have testing laboratories. So we test the product to see if it is dangerous or if it is meeting standards. We have the laboratories to do that. And these laboratories, because we want the genuine manufacturers to access the regional and the international standard, I mean international markets, as well as the Ugandan market, our laboratories have been internationally accredited. Meaning when we test the product here, the results are recognized and accepted outside Uganda, in East Africa, in the European Union, in the US, and in Asia. Because we are testing the way they also test, then they recognize our results. So if you find a problem in the market, please inform us and you come and we shall handle it. I talked about the market surveillance, but you also check the imported products. Some people who import products can import products which are what? Which are fake from different countries. So we have staff at the entry points who check the products which are coming in. We have also contracted some inspectors and laboratories abroad to test products before they come to Uganda under a program called Pre-Export Verification of Conformity Standards. That means if you are importing something from Dubai and it's supposed to meet standards, we have a company in Dubai, we should test it and furnish us with the results before you bring that product here. But we try to do that for products of higher value and bigger consignments, to try to not to disorganize these small ones. The small ones are allowed to bring at the border, we check at the border. If they are okay, we allow them in. If they are not okay, we insist them and we end up destroying them. So yes, UNBS is doing what it can to make sure that goods on the market are meeting standards, but there are those chicken thieves who still cause what? Who still cause problems, and we are trying to look for ways of making sure that you also eliminate them. Address these other ones as the others also prepare in case you have other questions. challenges of small scale industries, manpower. I don't know if I understood you properly. Which manpower? The manpower of the factories or manpower of the NBS?
The manpower of the money gets
Money gets surgery.
Yes, so many companies nowadays, kombucha, you hear this soft drink, you hear that one, you have manpower. Actually, even
Your point? People who produce products and claim that they give money guard surgery. That's a problem. Huh? Now this one, it is like me coming and telling you that I can make miracles. When I can jump at the somersault and this building enlarges. So we should also be careful not to be deceived. Because if somebody says and comes and says this can give you money guard surgery, and you take it and nothing happens, will you go back and buy, or you will seek you have bought little, you buy much more? So the problem here is not about the actual standard of the product, but misinformation. Misinformation means somebody can make a product and tell you that it does wonders when it actually does not. What UNBS is doing is not follow up that so-called money guard surgery or manpower. UNBS wants to make sure that the juices those small products companies are making does not harm the consumer. And the good thing, those which you have certified don't claim that they have those kind of money guard surgery. It is just rugambo, just talking here and there. But the actual products which are meeting the standards do not have those claims. So those who are pushing wheelbarrows, selling and claiming, I think it should be between the seller and the buyer, because UNBS does not run after those street vendors selling mulondo. Maybe we could work with the local governments who handle the street vending to see if we can reduce on those claims. Or if they get somebody claiming and we test and we find it is a dangerous product, then we apprehend them and take them to court. But the issue of that is specifically manpower. UNBS can only confirm if it is a medication. If you have a problem and there is a medication required, then they do that. Actually, about 3 years ago, we apprehended a certain businessman who was selling a drink, calling it energy drink, and he claiming that he gives the money guard surgery like you have said. When we reached our laboratories and tested, we found the person had gotten the juice and put in Viagra. He got the juice and put in Viagra and started selling it as energy drink, which was illegal. So we arrested him, actually took him to court, and he was sentenced and imprisoned. The others who were with him actually ran to the Congo, to the DRC. So that's what we mean. If somebody comes claiming and then he has put in a chemical or a medicine that is supposed to be given to in hospital, called Viagra for something, we can't allow that one. It should not be in our street food or in the manufactured food that we consume here. So again, if you find somebody claiming and you suspect, if we could land on the sample and we test, our first point would be to see whether it is safe or if it has those funny ingredients like Viagra. But you can work on them, but the problem you are talking about is a street problem. It's not somebody with a fixed manufacturing point. If he has a fixed manufacturing point, that is his place and he works and produces it, we have given you a number. Just call us and tell us. We should be able to go and check and find out what the problem is. Even the TV and radio to me still remains Rugambo because they even don't indicate where they are located. Somebody say there's a product here, if you eat it, if you take it, you have this. Please, just use save yourself from that kind of information. And also, I know the Minister of Information works with the Minister of Health on such adverts. If an advert is wrong, they can also apprehend the person who is being what? With advertising or something wrong like that. But UNBS mainly will concentrate on the manufacturer, the product he manufactures, which he sells out to the people, which is packed properly, then we check whether it is safe for consumption. But those who do the adulteration and false information, if we share information, you can take action, but it's not our day-to-day. activity. I want to be honest with you on that one. Then the slow response on complaints, it is a yes and no. There are complaints which come which we know if we don't take action that day, somebody will die that day. And we have heard them like where there is water which has been contaminated. When somebody is making water and putting in a substance called methanol, when you put it in water, those who drink it, either you get blind or you die. So when you get something like that information, even if we don't have fuel, we shall borrow and run there to save lives. But on other occasions, this information which comes, and in this year and the previous years, we have been having a very low budget as an institution, such that the money you need to use to fuel your vehicle to go and handle a complaint, you find in before the quarter of the year is done, I mean the fuel is finished. So we delay waiting for money from the budget from government. But we are lucky that the coming financial year, they have increased our budget. So I hope we shall also increase on the speed of responding to complaints. Because now we shall not have an excuse of the what? Of the fuel and transport. Because they have covered it in the coming budget starting in July. But this year ending June and the other ones, they have been very bad off in terms of budgetary provision. Then, the most relevant question, World Meteorology Day. What has UNBS done to disseminate this information? Now, there are two approaches, and the first one we are trying to use is the media. We would like the media to understand the issues of metrology or measurements and the impact those measurements have on our daily lives, businesses, and activities. Then, when you go out in your media houses, you can start publicizing that information in newspapers, on social media, and all of that. But we are also planning to have workshops and seminars at a regional level. We go to the east, gather some people for some time, and teach them. Because they are, like I told you, meteorology affects us every day. Those of you who have cars, you go to a petrol station, you ask for 10 liters of fuel, they could give you 8. If the machine has not been what? Checked by UNBS. You go, like you said, to buy the meat and they give you 800 grams instead of 1 kilo. So there UNBS needs to come in, but the people need to know what to do. That's why we're even giving you some of these toll-free numbers. You can call us without spending money on airtime using this toll-free number. Then you can come and take action. So for meteorology, we are doing publicity through the media. That's one. Then we want to go and do regional seminars and meetings to sensitize people. Then we also want to specifically target government officials, especially policymakers, to understand the importance of meteorology and give it priority when they are giving budgets and also supporting activities. Like I've told you, when a group which understood the importance of meteorology helped us to put up a building. Now that building currently is staffed like a quarter. So if we could get equipment to go to half and 3/4 of equipment, we would be so happy and the activities would be seen even on the streets. So we would want to sensitize people to understand the importance of meteorology, so that when it comes to decision making, to budgeting in the government, and also prioritizing activities, they prioritize that activity and we find everybody benefiting. The village person will be not seated in the shop. The one in the town can start a business which uses measurements like that, until we are all benefiting from issues of measurements. When you go to developed countries, they have put meteorology at the helm, and that's why you see the industrialization level is around 80%. For us, because meteorology is just a word we think is the weather, meteorology, and we only hear of measurements when you are buying meat, you can see our level of industrialization is still very what? Very low. But the moment we make meteorology a household name, both in schools, in institutions, and at high government level, you will see how we shall accelerate in industrial and scientific development. That's what can I say about that. And like I said, please, once you have understood what you are talking about, when you go out of here, go and spread the message. By the time we have another activity on the same, please, we should come when you have already softened the ground for us.